King Boom.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it.
Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken dam waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues. Contradicting with King Alfred to give dues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, still memory tells me don't fall for spooks. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books. Getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers. Robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it.
Me nah play with uno so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job, 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci stores with God. Thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish mic renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer, empty battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways, rap conduct squarer.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it.
Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro, black, colored, minority, death preparer. Not the being, but the label attached. See me like Martin, going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow so dull that I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper, CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill but no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liars do nothing for you while they get rich and pour you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from wood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repedo, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not Bay but L like Gred and Hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands, with birthright brands. I don't worry about getting scanned.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started dropping it.
What up?
Peace and of course, MHHS. Oh, hold on. Pardon me. Here, echo there. All right, cool. We are good. All right, Islam family, MHHS, eyes wide open. MHHS, Sons of Allah. February 25th, 2016, Gregorian calendar year. Big shout out to Sister Standing on Law and all Moors listening. I am Mizraim Aleph Ill, along with my brethren, co-host, Grand Sheikh Hujo Adwa Ill. Brethren, are you there?
Islam, Moor, I'm here. Islam to all the Moors.
Islam, Noble. Right, that's what it is. Man, it's good to be back on, and it's a lot to go in on. Tonight is a great night. I just wanted to say we definitely looking forward for a broadcast tonight, whereas it's packed with information. Excuse me. Definitely looking forward for Brother Set and Rod to chime in on an awesome constitutional experience. But first and foremost, I want to say this. Quote this. Because for the past couple of weeks and for some time prior to that, I've been really looking at these lessons, that Noble Drew Ali left for us to, absorb and inwardly evolve with in life. And we study a lot of things, you know what I mean? Law, history, different branches of science, math, all of these aspects, And I was just thinking about the basics, just getting back to the basic fundamentals, right? And one of the most elusive things that I've realized in studying is the word love. It's an elusive word, but it's the first principle out of the 5 for Moorish Americans, right? Because so many people have different perspectives on this particular word and or principle. So I know it's something I've been turning over in my head. I've never been a hater, but I remember that Noble Drew Ali said the Asiatics of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. It's a lesson in that, and there's information in that. And certain things I've been coming across, it made me realize even more that this principle is deeper than the passion that you feel about one specific being. It actually has an element of or inspires international law. I mean, there's different text writers on this particular subject. And again, I just wanted to emphasize for Moorish Americans, according to Noble Drew Ali's lesson, the 5 principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So in my studies, I came across this because, the trinity of the enchantment, study, right? And when you do that, you start connecting yourself to your own understanding. And as you evolve, you also have a certain ability to reflect. And it's like the truth is an energy. So certain things you want to know about, you could put it out into the universe and it comes back. The question that you ask or the revelation that you were looking for could just come across you so quick just because you put it out there. This is something that I came across, and I just wanted to share this with the Moorish family and the listeners because it's relative to our 5 principles. And I've definitely been endeavoring more to understand them. We understand what it means on the face, but everything has more than a face. Like, it's an intrinsic existence of everything, whether it's yourself, you have internal functions in your body that came from, your mother building you in the womb, which was the science and the element of love. That the building session itself had to be love, right? So, to me, it recalled back to this before I correlate what stood out to me in international law. I just wanted to get back to basics real quick. In the Circle 7, they mentioned something about a stream of good to be found in the foulest of men, right? So that, when we was talking on Tuesday about the children being born with an innate divine intelligence, that essence has to be, the element of love in a certain aspect. And again, I'm not saying a passion or feeling for one specific person. I'm talking about a universal energy. That's what I'm saying. This is just my perspective. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I mean, we could look around at existence and know that naturally love has to be a part of existence, the energy of amelioration, of embellishment, of, life, etc. So just correlating that back, I was reading in the Classics of International Law, Issue 5, Volume 2, and this particular subject stood out to me. Again, I'm emphasizing the 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, it's correlated because Moors, if you go back to our history, we have treaties of peace and friendship. There's a multitude of treaties and peace of friendship. But it's a difference between peace and then friendship, because it's a treaty of peace and friendship. So that's conjunctive, meaning that these are two things that were conjoined to one force. Right? So that element of that treaty is international law. Now, this is a perspective, and I trust Moors listening. Feel free to tune in, add on, if you have anything to add on to this particular subject, But this is the quote, page 88, from the Classics of International Law, Issue 5, Volume 2. And it says, excuse me. Was you saying something, bro?
No, go ahead, Moor.
Oh, it's not my fault. All right. So it says, what I have said is in harmony with the observation of Alexander Thorminus. All right, it says that the force of the laws of nature is not derived from mere human society. It cannot be referred to that alone, but that its activities have as their object either God or one's neighbor. Now, please don't get me confused. I'm just quoting something. I'm not trying to promote any type of religious that will say you need to believe this perspective. I'm just sharing, what different text writers had to say about this principle of international law. So looking back, we can make some sort of correlation or connect the dots in the aspect. Okay. But it says, so that its activities have their object either in the sovereign of the universe or one's neighbor and society or oneself and human nature. Goes on to say, besides all this, the duties of friendship must not be neglected. Friendship, says Aristotle, and seems to bind a state together, and lawgivers pay more heed to it than even to justice, right? So already it had me intrigued because I already know the 5 principles, our 5 principles, Moorish American, principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So it's talking about friendship, which treaty was made, and goes in to talk about love. It says, where citizens cherish friendship, nothing may arise to make them feel the lack of justice. And in the politics, he says that friendship is the greatest good that can befall citizens. Since then, in every society, law of some kind is found, and some kind of friendship too. The latter calls for the most careful attention on the part of anyone who is proposing to set forth the law of nature in an orderly manner. Now, to me, I just wanted to go back and correlate that with, if you look in the John Bouvier's Institutes of American Law, Concise Encyclopedia of Law, Francis Rawley's third revision. It breaks down 6 primitive points in the law of nature. We could add on, we could go on, but self-love is one of them. But this particular text goes on to say, yet love, to which friendship exerts its force, may be felt for the same person as is loving. And if he is conscious of being endowed with a preeminent kind of goodness, he is in a special and not in devious sense a self-lover. All right? Nay, the very duties of friendship and those attributes whereby friendship is defined seem to issue from those qualities which every man wishes for and imputes to himself. And this is the meaning of the common saying, the right kind of love is that which begins with the lover himself or herself. Starts within the self-love. Now, this might seem elementary, but like I said, I was inspired to get back to basics because this is the first principle, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? So remembering the foundation of whatever we build on, we can never shut out information or different perspectives on it. Because I'll say this, if everybody on the line was to call in right now and answer the question, what do you think love is? More than likely everybody will have a different answer. I'm just saying. I might be wrong, but there's different perspectives. So what I wanted to do is inspire, that thought of just getting back to basics. You could look the word up, and then you might have, others who say it's a word you can't define. It's a natural energy, that's all. It's just, it is what it is. But it is something consider that this principle, this subject, will even be considered in international law, right? In conjunction with the fact that Noble Drew Ali was saying the Asiatics of America need to learn to love instead of hate. That is not a light statement. And then when you look at it, because I looked in the dictionary, saw the definition of truth, peace, freedom, justice, all of these are there. But as far as a concrete definition of the word, we could trace it back to Sanskrit, but the expression of that type of energy is almost infinite, I think. All of these revolve together. Because, again, like I'm saying, international writers were writing on this subject and embodied that into their works on international law. So it's not something that's just like a cliche type of statement or, it sounds good. And, you know what I mean? There are references to this in law, in international law. Also, I would suggest there's a book on RVBey publication called The 7 Principles of Love. If you can, tap into that, you know what I mean? And learn more on this specific principle. Or again, I don't knock anybody who says, it's not something you can learn, it's just something that's innate. I get that too, you know what I mean? But in conjunction with existence. So before we further go in, I just wanted to add that on, man, before we go in tonight, just to start it off on the principle of the first principle.
Well,
in conjunction with everything else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to add on to your add-on. I want to put on the record that there's a divine force that moves through Moors who stick to the principles that Noble Drew Ali laid down for us. And when we experience these things, these happenings, they have to be put in their proper place so that people who are less learned could really see that we don't have to be in the same place to be united as Moors. Right?
Indeed.
I was sitting here because you already know how we go with Sons of Allah. whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing's ever planned. You know, I will say, yeah, we did have a conversation today. We did have some concepts in mind with regard to what we were talking about, but it's not happenstance. It's not coincidental. You started off the show with what you started off with, you know, and you know, we say that we haven't started going in yet. Let's go in on the topic, but you know, from the start we always go in, right? You said something. One thing that you said was there's a stream of good in the foulest of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I was looking through was a book called The Mind by the Grand Al Mufti, Noble Reverend Dr. Malachi Zadok York L. Right? And in this book, which I'm not sure if it's still in print, because I know that after he got locked up, certain people in the Nuwapian nations of Moors took a lot of his stuff out of circulation, the meaningful things, and left the propaganda information out there. You know what I mean? One of those things was the Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple that Malachi York reissued for the Nuwapians, for them to know what Noble Drew Ali brought. They took that out of circulation. I know they took this Mind book out of circulation. I know they took the Potential book out of circulation. But in the Mind book, in scroll 18, which is page 73, there's a chapter on love. And I was going to go there just, you know, because we're dealing with Noble Drew Ali and whatever, you know what I mean? First principle, so we got to give it some attention. And again, you know, the quote of, you know, the stream of good in the foulest of men. So I just want to read this chapter so we can, you know, because we beat up on Dr. York a lot for dropping the ball. But we do have to acknowledge the good that he did do in keeping the teachings of Noble Drew Ali in the literature, even though, you know, he said a lot of things that contradicted his position on Noble Drew Ali later. You know, we do know that when he went to trial, he was wearing the red fez. He wasn't wearing the black fez with the ankh and all those Masonic fezzes that you see him in pictures holding the scimitar and all that stuff. He wasn't wearing none of that when he went to his trial. He wore the red fez that Noble Drew Ali brought back to the Moors, right? So scroll 18. Lo, my child, true religion consists of more than ritualistic observances, baths, and pilgrimages, but in loving, cosmic love, all-embracing and all-inclusive. In the presence of pure love, all distinctions and differences, as well as all hatred, racism, jealousy, egoism, are dispelled, just as dirtiness is dispelled by cleanliness. There is no knowledge higher than love. There is no treasure higher than love, because love is truth. Love is God. And then goes back to the same thing that you're saying about when you read your reference, that they mention love in there, and then they mention another one of the principles, same thing here, right? One must strive to convert one's emotion into unconditional love for God, which is neither binding nor selfish. These emotions, when channeled properly, can be used to attain freedom. Another one of the principles again. One should transmute the lower emotions into unconditional emotions. Emotions are weak and must not be equated with divine love, which manifests as peace and joy. The lower emotions are not suppressed, however, but are utilized and sublimated. Without emotions, there is no love. And without love, one cannot approach that infinite love that is. A child of God recognizes that both love and hate are the two most powerful driving forces in life. Both emotions are healthy and essential to life. And to possess only one, love or hate, and to be deprived of the other is to be crippled as a bird with only one wing. But to hate another human being is to hate yourself, and that too is fair. For there are times when you hate what you have done or done things you hate to do. A child of God realizes that both love and hate, in order to be constructive, must be directed in the proper channels, and to do otherwise is destructive and suicidal. I love peace. I hate war. I love happiness. I hate sadness. I love those who hate me. A child of God, therefore, makes a careful distinction between his or her loved ones and his or her enemies. Through the higher emotions, the devotee reacts out of the divine. With purification, the receptive heart receives the continual flow of divine love. The barrier between individual souls and Supreme Soul is the ego, the ever-present enemy. It manifests as a feeling of separateness. Through purification, one does away with this feeling of separation. For in the ecstasy of pure love and devotion, the consciousness of the individual self is lost. Mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. So I just wanted to put that out there, just because, you know, you started off talking about love, and, you know, we didn't talk about this. This is just something that, you know, 5 minutes before the class, went to the bookshelf and was just looking through, you know, what's here or whatever like that, pulled out the mind book, and, you know, got revisited with the lessons. And keep in mind the lessons of Noble Reverend Dr. Malachi Zadok York L. Right, so this is the title that was on his book, 33°/720°, the Grand Al Mufti.
Powerful. You know what? To keep it going, bro, because this is an important subject that's not really talked about a lot. You know what I mean? Like, people say the statement loosely. You know what I mean? And I think that it's something we really need to learn. Like, all right, when you was young, growing up, you knew your mother loved you. You know what I mean? And your family, etc. And you loved your mother just because, you know, I mean, all due respect to those who grew up in different situations. You know what I mean? Peace be upon you all too. But for the most part, it's an energy that you just know is real. You know what I mean? You could use a word to express it. But I just wanted to add on to the fact when you were talking about becoming self-destructive. I still had a little bit more reference on this subject of love, just looking at it from an international perspective, right? So again, this is still the classics of international law, dealing with page 59 into page 60. The bottom of page 59, it says, utterly bad and impious persons are always at variance with themselves. Now, another lesson I got out of this statement, just that right there alone, with the lessons already implanted in the memory, the latent energies that could be recalled to remembrance at any time. When I saw that statement, utterly bad and impious persons are always at variance with themselves, it reminded me of the inconstancy chapter that was in the Circle 7. You know what I mean? In one moment knowing if you will, and in the next you will if not, etc. So to me, all of this is relating back to what Noble Drew Ali was giving his jewels on or planting seeds for. So when we come across these different lessons in law, international law, we already know what time it is on the face of things. So I'm going to continue to read this. It says, utterly bad and impious persons are always at variance with themselves, and while desiring one set of things, wish for something else. Just like incontinent people, for these spurn and reject what they believe to be good for themselves and pursue what is pleasant and take what is hurtful. Joy and pain, pleasure, that's your choice. That's also something that was spoke of in the Circle 7, right? That your joy or your pain is your own choice. To continue this, it says, others are so cowardly and lazy. I'm going to say that again. Others are so cowardly and lazy that they utterly abstain from doing what they know to be best for themselves. And there are people whose moral depravity has led them to commit many terrible crimes, and they hate and shun life to try to put an end to themselves, correlating with what you said from the lesson about being self-destructive. You know what I mean? And this is just the perspective in international law. So this element of love versus hate, you know what I mean? It's not a lesson to be taken lightly, because where it says, they hate and shun life and try to put an end to themselves, what came to mind to me was last year or the year before that, he said that the suicide rate of the U.S. military was at an all-time high. And I correlated that back to the fact, if they're hating and shunning life by taking life, and something would have to, it's another energy that exists that's opposite to love, all due respect to anybody who had to in self-defense. But what I'm saying is that to just, we're going to just go, you know what I mean, take these innocent lives, you're shunning life. And from that energy of hate, you will end up eventually taking your own. You know what I mean? I mean, all people who are haters don't necessarily take their lives. But that element being there opposed to the love can drive somebody to end themselves in the language that this book is using. It goes on to say, and that correlates back to what you were saying again, bro, about people being destructive towards themselves, right? Or something of that nature. It goes on to say, vicious people seek companions to spend their days with and try to escape from themselves. For when they are alone, there are many serious and disagreeable things which they recall and others which they anticipate. But when they are in the company of other people, they forget these things. All right? So that's saying something there. Because, like you said, we don't necessarily have to be together to be unified. I mean, if anybody knows a little bit about, quote-unquote, Black Wall Street, everybody was together, got bombed, because what? They was all in one spot. Have to spread out. You know what I mean? We need, you know what I mean, people thousands of miles away. We need people, tens of miles away, hundreds of miles away. You know what I mean? Because we have to be everywhere. If we all are concentrated in one spot opposed to looking at the North American land or the planet Earth really as being the one spot that we're all on, then, you know what I mean? What you get is people who cannot, who again, I'll quote this back. And I'm not saying this is the case with everybody who's seeking companionship. I'm not. I'm just saying this is another perspective I'm just sharing with the family. It says, vicious people seek companions to spend their days with and try to escape from themselves. So it was a statement made that every problem that anybody could have comes from the lack of ability to be by themselves. Not that we should be, complete loners or anything like that, yeah. But can you sit and concentrate and not necessarily have to be in the jail cell to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like this aspect, because you look at it, how many brothers and sisters are locked up having to do this, and they can't really. You know how scattered your thoughts could be in that situation because you're in one you really don't want to be in, so you start adapting. You know what I mean? But to be able to do that without the aid of physically being restrained or confined is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And then when you evolve, you share yourself with others, that's the love. But again, if you was to find your savior, right, because this all correlates to chapter 3, pardon me, got to go in like this real quick, though. Chapter 3 talks about, no, real talk, this is all interrelated. And the revelation I had just from this first principle of love is, or coming across this language being used in international law texts, you know what I mean, is that what Noble Drew Ali was saying, he was speaking about international law. It wasn't just a cliche feel-good statement type of thing like, yeah, this is our 5 national principles. I'm going to lust you so much that you think it's love. Like, no, we're not talking about lust. We're talking about that divine energy like you mentioned earlier. Again, hold on, pardon me, while I pull this chapter 3 of the Circle 7, you know what I mean, where it goes into the pure in heart, you know what I mean? Now, the heart bleeds. So I know the word blessed means bleed, but I'm going to read this, and I'm not going to try to qualify that word. I know blessed means bloodshed, but this particular language says, blessed are the pure in heart, but the heart bleeds, right? So in that context, it's not a bad usage. Blessed are the pure in heart, because if your heart can't bleed, what does that mean? That means death. That's something that's supposed to bleed. That's something that's supposed to be. So in that context, the word is wrong. I mean, it's right. It's not a bad usage. So chapter 3, enumeration 3, blessed are the pure in heart. Because this is divine and national. You're talking about your body too. For they will love and not demand love in return, fam. They will love and not even demand it in return. And, when you look at chapter 3 again, it goes into the lower self is what breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. But prior to that, enumeration 10 says, the higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So to correlate that one first principle, you know what I mean, before we even get into truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which they're all interrelated, don't get me wrong, but you're talking about purifying yourself for international standing, being in full life. That was something we mentioned earlier, too, because we mentioned in full life, and now you're talking about being physically and civilly, continuing both in physical and civil existence. So it goes back to the body, too. But though we know to get in that mind state, man is mind. So again, where it says, well, it's mentioning love, and again, this is correlating with Noble Drew Ali's lessons that he tailored for Moors in conjunction with what's written in international law texts. Cannot emphasize that enough because it's a very important first principle. So to move on or to add on, I'll just bring this back. People seek companions to spend their days with and try to escape from themselves. For when they are alone, there are many serious and disagreeable things. Hold on, I got to stop right there again, too, because there's something else to add on. When they mentioned about because they are alone, when you look back at chapter 3, and it talks about Savior of man. You know what I mean? If man was to find his Savior, he must look within. And that statement, let's say man, is in conjunction with how it was defined in the book I'm talking about, because it defines man as mind. So that applies to mothers and sons, males, females, however you interpret our existence. We are part of a universal mental intelligence that manifested here on earth. So any suits in your thought process, you know what I mean? If you were to find your savior, you have to look within. This is higher self, lower self lessons as well. But go on, it goes on to say, oh, my fault, was you about to add on? Because I was about to go on.
Yeah, go ahead, Moor.
You sure? All right, my fault.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. It goes on to say, all right, so but when they are in the company of other people, they forget these things. There's nothing lovable in them, and therefore they have no feeling of love for themselves, nor do such people sympathize with themselves in joy or sorrow, for their soul is divided against itself, one part being pain so vicious it is at abstaining from certain actions, and the other part being pleased thereat. One part of the man pulls this way, and another part pulls that way, as if they would pluck and tear him asunder. This is our international law book, Classics of International Law, issue 5, volume 2. Or if it is impossible to feel pain and pleasure simultaneously, it is not long, at all events, before the vicious man is pained at having been pleased, and could wish that he had not enjoyed such pleasures. It follows that if the condition is a condition of extreme misery, we must strain every nerve to avoid wickedness, and must make it the ambition of each one of us to be virtuous. And the same philosopher teaches as follows: the bad man does not love himself, for he harms both himself and his neighbors by his indulgence in evil practices. Truly the things which a bad man does are very much out of accord with the things which ought to be done. Nor was the force of this conscience unknown to the jurist of old, as may be seen in Dig 49:15. It says, Aristotle also gives us a masterly picture of the working of good conscience in those who by reason of their virtue are self-lovers. And after describing in full characteristic of this self-love, he concludes as follows: every good man should be a self-lover, and he says, such a person wishes to dwell and live with himself where it is pleasant for him to do so, his memories of the past being agreeable to him, so also his good hope of the future. It too is agreeable to him. His mind, moreover, is stored full of things that he has perceived and thought about, and he sympathizes with himself preeminently in pain and in pleasure, for the same things are pleasant or painful to him always, and they do not vary. And I might almost say that he does nothing that he regrets, etc. I will add one testimony to the good, pardon me, fam. I will add one testimony to the good conscience which is afforded by Seneca. The mind, says he, of the wise man who is conscious of no evil in himself is like the condition of the universe beyond the moon. It is always serene up there, and a wise man is never without joy, a joy which can arise only from the consciousness of his virtues. It would, I think, be a misuse of time to confirm this by examples and to give illustrations of the working of each kind of conscience. They are in readiness and accessible to anyone who turns over the records of history. Some few of them, however, I shall proceed to touch on. So I just wanted to say law, history, and the 5 international principles of Moorish definitely have international standing, which is not something to be taken light when you correlate what Noble Drew Ali left. So to put it in short, what I'm trying to say is Noble Drew Ali left us principles to look at that lead us back to international law and principles in community. Islam.
Islam. And in that, like we were talking about earlier in the week, Tuesday, that in order for there to be national, the divine has to be considered. And love is a manifest of divine. You know, love is something that leads us, because when we say the principles, and we say the 5 grand principles, we are relating these principles that were laid down to reference points in international law. But to go back again to the mind and stressing the point of how powerful Noble Drew Ali was in putting love as the first principle, right? Because with the 5 principles, any one of them could have been first. But love was specifically chosen to be the first principle. And it's no different than when we say, we echo the call of study, study, study. And after those 3 studies, he said study again after that. But we're not even going to those ones before we deal with these first 3. Same thing with the principles. We can't even touch the other ones yet until we fully comprehend all the different aspects that make up that first principle and take into high consideration why that one was put first before all the other ones. So in scroll 20, the same book, the Mind book, exchange anger for love and sorrow for joy. A change in character occurs only through formation of new habits. A change in character occurs only through formation of new habits. So we claimed that we were, well, some of us claimed that we were black, African, whatever like that. And our character changed when we adopted the principles of Noble Drew Ali. And adopting this principle as the first one, love, right? Control can be gained by non-attachment or by eliminating emotional reactions to situations and individuals. Non-attachment does not mean that there should not be love or compassion, but rather that emotional thought waves are ignored. The thought waves may arise, but they are observed in a disinterested fashion, then put aside. Non-attachment is a state of mind. It is indifference of objects of the world. It involves being unaffected by the pull of likes and dislikes. Facebook. It involves being unaffected by the pull of likes and dislikes. Whenever the mind acquires a taste for a particular sensation or pleasure, it becomes attached to it. The mind recalls the experience and desires repetition of it. It is this craving that creates pain. Non-attachment does not necessarily mean the cessation of life in society. Right? For all those people who talk about, they will try to convince you to live off the grid. Yeah, live off the grid, that's when you get true freedom. Well, non-attachment doesn't really mean the cessation of life. Being off the grid doesn't mean that you're really off the grid. Renunciation is a great aid to the attainment of non-attachment. By giving up objects of the senses, the mind is quickly stilled. But it is best to remember that non-attachment is not synonymous with not having. One can own nothing and yet be full of desires. If a person is fond of cherry ice cream, binding his or her hands and taping his or her mouth will not keep his or her mind from dwelling on this treat. The basis of non-attachment is the internal realization of the worthlessness of the external world. Objects and desires then automatically fall away. But renunciation does not mean running away from society, duties, and responsibilities as it is sometimes assumed. So keep that in mind when we say, we're not Negro, Black, Colored, we're Moors, or I'm not a U.S. citizen, I'm Moorish American. That doesn't mean that you run away from society because you're not over there anymore. That doesn't mean that you run away from your duties or your responsibilities. It means carrying on with one's duties in a dispassionate, unattached way. The more you want, the least you get. Those that must have are never really satisfied. Desire is the lead to suffering. Take less and don't be obligated. Care for your mate, however, not to the point where you're a pain to love and hard to live with. Things will happen with or without you, so you don't have to be part of it all. It does not mean don't be part, just don't have to be a part. This world is temporary. Don't need it, or you will be bound to it, and all it never really gives. This world is temporary. Don't need it, or you will be bound to it, and all that it never really gives. And then we go back to these principles, with love being the first principle. And the fact that love is divine. Love is a particular vibration, a particular frequency that, we know that when you show, for example, they were saying, show love to your enemies. That will destroy your enemies more than you kicking their ass, by you loving them. Especially recognizing that the most high, the higher power, loved us so much in our dead state that they sent us a prophet to teach us these things in order to raise us up so we can vibrate on a higher frequency and realize that, just like going back to the chapters of the Quran, that every living thing is bound to accord. And we have a certain obligation to every living thing, especially if it's on a lower vibration than we're on. But I just wanted to throw that in there because it appears that certain people who present themselves as being superior to the Prophet are really using his lessons to give themselves, big chests, make them feel important, but they don't want to recognize or acknowledge, where they got their stuff from. Remember that this is Dr. Malachi Zadok York L's book, not Planet Risk guy or Yamasee Chief, whatever. Malachi Zadok York L, who put out of love for the Nuwapian nation of Moors, out of love for them, not only gave them their holy tablets and their black book and all those stuff that they hold sacred, but also gave them a holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, so they can have the teachings of Noble Drew Ali to go along with everything else that they have.
True.
Right?
For sure. And it's imperative and important, bro. My fault. Go ahead,
right.
man.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna say that. You know, I just wanted to put that out so that we can accept the fact that, you know, majority of people knew about this man, Noble Drew Ali, and they chose not to tell. And when they did tell, they told it without, you know, going in like how we're going in on it. They chose not to do that. They chose to just put it out there, you know. Noble Drew Ali, and then go over here and start talking about some other stuff. When they know that that's the foundation of them, and it's deliberate.
True.
To take the position of not going in on what Noble Drew Ali brought. Forget all the stuff that you know they said that they got for their people who are whatever. You know what I mean? The fact that this man is going to put out Noble Drew Ali's book, right? When you look at Ben Amin was telling people that they're not Negro, black, colored, and stuff like that. Where do you get that from? You know what I mean? It just happens to say that, you know? Just like Garvey came out and told people, you know, return to your own vine and fig tree. Where do you get that from? You know?
Sure.
So the consideration, you know, and again, like we're just talking about the 5 principles. We didn't talk about, you know, why was he wearing fezzes? Why was he wearing turban? Why was he dressed how he was dressed? You know what I mean? Holy Quran, Divine Constitution, all these things that Noble Drew Ali brought that, you know, each one of these things could get a 5-hour class on it. So people could be clear as to what this man brought. You know what I mean? And again, in order to change the people, you must change their literature. And half the literature out there hasn't been changed since Noble Drew Ali left, because they're still calling people black, Negro, colored, African, or whatever today. So their literature has not changed, which is why the conditions have not changed.
Say that. And with that being said, I just want to say I've been giving my sincerest and dearest, most cautious efforts to put out literature. Definitely, Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry, Part 3 is coming so soon. And no, I'm serious, but this is for everybody, but specifically for the young and yet unborn and parents, you know, those who are in a parental position, or anybody who's teaching Moorish history, Aboriginal history. Like, we have so much history right here in North America, which artifacts are still standing today that we have to preserve before they're destroyed, because a lot of them are up in debate for being torn down, not existing anymore. These are arts, you know, that our ancestors laid down. Our ancestors' images are in these buildings. And I'm talking about in, quote unquote, within the jurisdiction of North America, of Moors, you know, not necessarily having to look to Europe to see these godheads on different vexatious and family crest, and, you know, still embedded in different churches. Like, our history is out here. You know what I mean? It's everywhere on planet Earth, but we should never forget that it's here too. And that being said, it takes a certain type of love to take time out to even try to communicate truth to people. besides, your immediates. So with that being said, man, family, listen, this is not a joke. What the brother was saying is for real. So please stay in tune with RVBeypublications.com, Khalifa Media. Definitely 77 amazing facts about the Moors, great literature. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, you do the work, but a lot of times, sometimes you don't want to give yourself credit. Some people do the work and, it is what it is. But what I'm saying is there is work being done, but the attention to what is being done is what it is. So there's a lot of literature to read everywhere. RVBey Publications is an online university manifested in the element of love, because it takes a certain type of love to genuinely teach. Remember that. And that being said, fam, we into the first hour. There's so much to go in on this subject. Our brethren, before we bring on our brethren, Set and RVBey, I know he has some information that I'm sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to hear. Before we transition, I know he has something to add on to this particular subject, but I just want to take this one caller who had their hand up as soon as we started going in on love. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, please ask the question or comment. But I feel as though they were inspired. I don't know, and I'm not trying to speak for you. Why I'm about to open the line for you to speak for yourself. But they had something to say for a while now, and I'm trusting that it's it's consistent with the subject. But also I want to say, for all of those listening via internet, the chat room is definitely open. Pardon on this end, there's some technical difficulties, but I understand you are able to chat in the chat room, add on comments, etc., references to your understanding, and anybody can press 1 to call in. So before we get into some more lessons and get a beautiful references from the brethren, I just want to take caller 412-969. You're live on the air. Are you with us? Peace and love. Caller 412-969. You're live on the air. Are you with us? Okay. All right. Caller 412 is not there. All right, but that's fine. So with that being said, Noble, before we continue on, I just want to say, I love, and I mean that, the demonstration that you were able to add on this subject, and the fact that we even have an opportunity to do this. Again, big acknowledgement to Sister Standing on Law, all the MHHS programs, all active Moors everywhere. And that being said, are you ready to transition into the next phase of the conversation or the next amelioration? Because I see callers' hands are going up. But first and foremost, I just want...
For sure, right. For sure.
Cool indeed. So with that being said, I would like to welcome Brother Set and RVBey from the North American capital area, Philadelphia's so-called brethren. Are you with us?
I'm here, brother.
All right. Here we
go. Islam. Peace and love to all active Moors. Peace and love to even the unconscious Moors. Peace and love to all. I'm sitting here licking my chops, man. I'm listening to what y'all talking about love, and I think a lot of people don't really understand the principle. But the Grand Sheikh said something earlier in his dissertation, man. He said thing was divine, right? And when he said that, it kind of like stopped me in my tracks, because when I opened up Saturday, I said, man, we always going hard on the law. We always going hard on different civic lessons and everything. I said, but we don't really go hard on divine. I said, we need to go hard on divine. So many people have that divinity within them. They don't really know how to bring it out. Sometimes they need a little push in the back to bring it out. So many people got that love within them. They don't really know how to bring it out. Right. So I want to read something that I read to the class Saturday, because something came up during the week with a friend of mine, and I read this to her, and I had to thank her because, excuse me, I said, you just gave me my lesson for Saturday, right? So I'm gonna read from the Biblios Heliotext, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, a time for everything. It says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time, excuse me, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for peace. A time for war and a time for peace. Then it goes on to say in verse 9, what do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time, also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. What is has already been, and what will be has been before. And God will call past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. For there will be a time for every activity and a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? Brothers, I read that in class, and I took the liberty of defining practically every word in this text and giving them definitions to the class. We read those definitions before the class. Before we read their script, because I wanted everybody to not have so many connotative meanings in their head. I wanted them to fully understand what these words meant. To be born and to die, to plant and to uproot. But when we got to verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Of course, you know that brought up some real discussion. Everything else did, but when we got there, that brought up some real discussion. Now, the Sheikh just read in Dr. Malachi York Ill's book that you have to have love in order to have hate. You have to have hate in order to have love. It's like you got to have day in order to have night. You got to have hot to have cold. Yin and yang, ebb and flow. I asked people, what do you love? And everybody started saying what they loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody started saying, I love this, I love that. So then my next question, of course, is, well, what do you hate? Oh, I don't hate anything. Well, wait a minute. You just said you love all of this other stuff. You're telling me there's nothing that you dislike? Because by definition, what hate says is less than love. That's by definition. I got that from the 1828 Northwestern Dictionary. Hate is less than love. So it's not some despicable thing. It's not some terrible thing. It's just one thing that you should not be consumed with. Because if you're consumed with hate, then it's impossible to love. But if you're consumed with love, then hating, come on.
Islam.
I hope the listeners will follow me. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm listening and I'm following you, and I just want to add on that what you just referenced, right? And the fact that you went into that on the Saturday class, I was not able to attend. But what I want to emphasize is that these are the type of things that demonstrate unity. Me and the brother have not talked since Saturday, but the lessons that are in the air right now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of unity I'm talking about tapping into. As far as, I mean, and we could do a lot with that. But I wasn't able to attend. I didn't get that message that's what the class was about. Out of all the things that happened, I don't know if you want to go into it, but it was like one thing that, from what I've heard, that highlighted that situation of Saturday's class, which from my understanding was a great constitutional demonstration on spot. It couldn't have got any liver than that. I don't know if you wanted to go in on that, but I wanted to point out that when you talk about unity and not having to be in the same space or place to be unified, it's a universal vibration that's going on right now. Because I tell you, 2 weeks prior to that, on the 13th of so-called February, we went to an art exhibit, and it was called Moments of Love. You know what I mean? So being the first principle of Moorish Americans is love, I was like, yo, we need to be in there. You know what I'm saying? So this whole month, and I don't think it has anything to do with, quote-unquote, you know, the concept of Valentine necessarily, but it's just in the air, or the subject. We wouldn't have been enlightened or inspired to say we need to talk about this and not even know that was the lesson. So that being said, brethren, I think that also is a definite demonstration of unity. But I also want to say, too, before you go in on some things, to the sisters out there, I personally, I myself, I want to hear y'all perspective on this conversation as well, because I know that, you know, y'all have a lot of wisdom on the subject or perspectives that, you know, some sons might not understand. You know what I mean? We need those lessons too. You know what I mean? So that being said, please, you know, if you have anything you feel as though you want to add on that subject, sisters, I'm calling you all out. Press 1. You know what I mean? Show us something. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Islam.
Oh, and quick fast before you continue on, just another word to the sisters is that keep in mind that sisters are looking for sisters to say something, because that's one of the biggest questions that we get from sisters is where's the sisters at, right? So so it's not just, you know, the sons making the requests, but we do get contacted by unconscious Moors that are female, and they get to that point where they ask the question, where are the sisters? Where are the the female representation, right? And like we say, we know that the sisters have info because they study just like we study. It's not just, they're out there. It's not like they're not out there, but the problem is that the patriarchal mindset has infused itself into this as well, into the Moorish movement as well. You know what I mean? And we're taking the position as sons to let sisters know that you don't have to play the background in this. This is not church stuff. This is not NY and all that stuff where you sit in a corner, right? This is matriarchal. You're not going to find any school of thought out there that's going to tell you that it's matriarchal. Its foundation is matriarchal from inception. You know what I mean? So we're putting it out there. You know what I mean? And we also want to put out there honors to the sisters who do speak up and who have been writing articles, writing books, putting up websites, and doing whatever it is that they have to do, raising their children, whatever it is that they've been doing, you know what I mean, to get this information out to the rest of the sisters. Honors to them as well.
So indeed, man. So indeed. Real talk.
So you can continue on. I know Brother Seth and I was gonna go in on his weekend excursion.
Islam, I'm still here. I want to just let me touch on one more thing before we get to that. That's something that everybody listening needs to hear. Before we go to that, I just want to say one more thing. In the beginning of what I just read, it says there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Season was another word that I pulled to quiz everybody on, because I asked everybody, how long is a season? And, of course, you get various different answers. You get 3 months because they think of summer, winter, spring, and fall. You got a bunch of various different answers, but you got to know that a season has no time limit. A season can be 10 minutes. A season can be 10 seconds. A season can be 10,000 years. So I asked everybody, when did this season that we're in start? And people looked around, probably trying to figure exactly what is it that he's saying. And I'm talking about this Moorish Divine and National Movement. And I don't want to say 1913 with the Canaanite Temple. I want to say 1886 with the birth of the Prophet. Is when this season started. This season and the time is now. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And that season and time is now. The ironic thing is that I was talking about this, and somewhere along the script, there was some commotion in class. I saw a sister run over to where RVBey and the Mufti, James Warren Bey, were standing. And I saw Taj grab his jacket and James grab his jacket, and they ran out. And I didn't interrupt class. I didn't stop, but I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? So I continue on, and maybe about 5 minutes later, a sister calls out, "Something right." I said, "What's up?" She said, "Taj wants you to call the sheriff and come down the street now." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Call the sheriff." And I said, "What's going on?" "There's a problem with the police." So as soon as she said that, I asked the cameraman to stop the camera. I grabbed my hoodie. I told all the men in the class, "Come with me." So we walked up the street to where they were. When we got up the street, we basically saw Taj handing the Sergeant Medina, a new one. What happened is this. A brother and his wife had left the class for a quick minute, and as they were traveling up the street, they were stopped by the policy enforcers, and they were arrested for a period of what would seem to be about an hour. The reason for the arrest was this. There was a light in the back of the window that was out. Not a tail light. Not the right tail light, not the left tail light, but the light that's in the back window, in the rear window. That light was out. So,
Islam, before you go on, can you just make it clear for the family? When you say they were arrested for an hour, were they like in the jail cell down at the station, or were they just hindered from their movement on the side of the road?
Not at all. When I say arrested, I mean it in the sense of they were stopped. Their motion was stopped, and they were not allowed to move on.
But are you saying that they was arrested without handcuffs, just off the movement, just because they couldn't move? That was an arrest. That's what you're saying?
Precisely. No handcuffs, just an arrest. Arrest meaning that your motion was stopped.
Okay.
So their motion was stopped. So for people who may not be up on that lingo, they were pulled over by the police. So and the reason for that stoppage was that light in the rear window was out. Neither tail light. Now, by statute and whatever the Pennsylvania state codes and statute, as long as you have one tail light that's functional, you're operable. That's by their code. That's by their codes and their statutes. I didn't say that was by law. I said that was by their statutes and their codes, not law. So they pulled the brother over, and of course, when the cop walked over to the vehicle, the first thing he said was license and registration. So then the brother asked him, and this video was on YouTube. I can pull the name of the video in a little while and give it to everybody so they can go watch it. The brother said to the cop, "What's your probable cause? Why are you stopping me? You got a tail light out." So the brother going back and forth with the cop. The cop is asking for identification, and he's saying, "I'm not giving you any identification. Show me your identification. I need you to identify yourself." The brother flat out stood on his right to travel. When he asked for registration for insurance, the brother stood on his right to travel. Listen, I'm traveling in my land. I haven't broken any laws. I haven't harmed anyone. I haven't done anything to anybody. What is your probable cause for stopping me? Now, this was an Albion, and he wasn't so aggressive, but he wasn't really passive. He was trying to force his will on the brother, but the brother wasn't really allowing him to force his will on him. So the cop asked him to open the door. The brother said, "No, I'm not going to open the door." He said, "If you want the door open, you open it." So the cop opens the door. So then the cop said, "All right, put the car in park and turn the engine off." He said, "I'm not putting my car in park, and I'm not turning the engine off either." He said, "If you want the car in park, you reach in here and put it in park." So this goes back and forth between these two. And finally, another cop walks up, and the cop that originally arrested this brother, that stopped his motion, told the other cop, "This guy's a sovereign citizen, and we're not going to put up with this crap." What he said is, "We're tired of these sovereign citizens." Now, the brother should have clarified, "I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm a Moorish American national." People got to be abundantly clear. When people talk sovereign citizen, they're talking about a movement that was created by Albions. That has absolutely nothing to do with us. We are not sovereign citizens. We are sovereigns to the land, but we are not a part of the sovereign citizen movement. He should have corrected that cop at that point, but he didn't. And you got to understand, he was under duress. He got a couple people standing outside his car with him and his wife in the vehicle, and they got pistols on their hips. And we don't see what's been going on lately. Finally, the cop reaches in, and he puts the car in park, and he snatches the keys out. They asked the brother to get out of the vehicle. So he said, "Under threat, duress, and coercion, I'm going to get out." He gave them what was a right to travel card, a student ID, and a nationality card. He had them put together like one big card, and he gave them that. Now, he also had his nationality paperwork taped in the window of his conveyance. They ripped it out. They asked him simply to go read it. They actually ripped it out and did whatever they did with it. Before you know it, there was 7 other cars on the scene. The original one and 7 others pulled up. By that time, Taj had gotten up there, and Taj had called back for us. So by the time we got up there, me and about 8 other brothers walked up there. By the time we got there, everything had died down. All the other cops were sitting in their cars. None of them had anything to say but their sergeant, Sergeant Medina, who was on the scene the whole time practically, and who never intervened and said anything to his subordinate. He never said, listen, let this guy speak, or what exactly is he saying? Nothing. He just stood there. By the time we got up there, 1 car had left, and there was about 6 left. And to my shock, really to my amazement, when we walked up there the way that we did, none of them budged. None of them got out of any of their cars. None of them said a word. We walked up there fezzed up. We didn't make any noise. We didn't go up there screaming and hollering. But we stood by the side of this brother and by the side of RVBey and everybody else who was out there. And we stood there unified. Like I said, we didn't make any noise. We didn't go up there raising hell. But by the time we got there, Taj was giving these guys a lesson in law that you wouldn't believe. Now, I also forgot to say this. I want to read something right quick because I want to make a reference to something that cop said. This is from Article 6 of the Constitution for the United States of America Republic. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. And anything, and thing is with a capital T, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. While this brother was standing there and standing on his right to travel, and that cop was being arrogant and thinking he knew what he was talking about, he said, you sovereign citizens think you know law. You don't know more law than us. He said, this state has a constitution, and this state's constitution overrides the Constitution of the United States.
Yo, that sounds so familiar, bro.
That's what he let come out of his mouth. He said this state has a constitution, meaning the corporate state of Pennsylvania has a constitution, and that constitution overrides the federal constitution. Right? But just a second ago, he said that he knows law, and they know more law than we do. Right? And this is on YouTube.
Right.
And he tried to make a mockery out of the situation. He said, he ran over to the sister and said, you're recording this, right? He said, well, good. He said, all of our YouTube fans, listen to that. And I just sat there like, So what I think his badge number is 3737. What I was actually thinking about doing was just printing up a nice little copy of this Constitution and highlighting Article 6 and just dropping it off at the station for him.
Oh, that's
maybe he can comprehend.
Yeah, right?
So here you go with the statutes that are here in the corporate state of Pennsylvania. What they have is an operation called Operation Livestock. And with Operation Livestock, what they're saying is if you don't have 2 of the 3 required constructs, being a driver's license, valid registration from the state, and valid insurance through an insurance company and through the state, if you don't have 2 of the 3, then your vehicle is to get towed. And the Philadelphia Police Department doesn't tow it. They call another agency to tow it, and that's the Philadelphia Parking Authority, a completely different agency. The brother didn't show a driver's license, and the brother didn't show any valid insurance through any insurance company or through the state. And by the time we got there, like I said, Taj was handing this cop a new ass. Forgive my language. When we stood there waiting to see what was going to happen, the sergeant said, we're just waiting on this guy right here to hand this guy these tickets, and then everybody's free to go. Now, like I said, their statutes, code, and ordinances say that if you don't have 2 of the 3, he didn't present 2 of the 3, but that vehicle never got towed. He pulled away in his conveyance, and that was simply because he stood on his right to travel and because other Moors came to his aid, and we stood there unified and taught these guys what it was that they needed to learn. Now, I want to say this as well. Medina. When you hear that name, Medina, that makes you think of a Spanish-speaking Moor. Medina, right? When you look at this brother's face, you can clearly see that he's a Spanish-speaking Moor. Everybody else were Albions. This brother stood at attention and stood in front of Taj and listened attentively the whole time that I was out there. Didn't dispute one thing Ty said. I'd be totally shocked if that sergeant didn't go home and get on Google. But he stood there attentively listening to everything that was said. So for everybody that hadn't had that opportunity, that was actually out there with us, I was pleased. I was happy because they actually got to see constitutional principles in play. They actually got to see birthright in play. So so it's different when you're in class and you say do this and do that. Well, we actually were out there. That's the second time, and that's the second time in a period of 3 months that we actually did that. I did it with a brother a while ago when he had got stopped by the policy enforcers. I left my domicile and I went right over to where he was, and I talked to the sergeant like I should have talked to the sergeant in a sensible tone, like I was instructed by the prophet. And we got favorable results. That's the second time that we stood on right to travel.
That's so beautiful of a demonstration. Let me add this though. I think that this is their fear, right? Because they've been practicing subjugation for a while now. So when he told the brethren or sistren or both that you think you know more law than me, right? Or ask that question in an authoritative way type of thing, whereas it wasn't like a question mark, it was an exclamation. You know what I mean?
Right.
That I think that's one of their fears, is that we actually do. They know we do, you know what I mean? Or they know that we're not ignorant, so they feel some type of way. I just wanted to reference this back to a situation I was in. I had a fight with a couple of situations, and a particular female European prosecutor. We bumped heads a couple of times in different areas. And the last time I ran into her, she was like, "Why am I seeing you again?" I'm like, "You need to tell him to leave me alone." When I went up, she had already had everything dropped, but the magistrate still tried to scrape me by saying 33 notes court costs. So I'm like, in the moment, I'm young. I'm just like, yeah, I just got the charges dropped. Let me go. But then I get outside, and I'm like, nah, that's not right. If everything was dropped, I shouldn't be paying 33 notes. I'm going back in. I went back in. I'm like, look, you know, I'm not trying to cut everybody else off. I know it's a full house, but, you know, I need to speak with the prosecutor in front of this magistrate on a special appearance right now. He was like, oh, no, you're going to have to wait. I'm like, no, I just left, but we have something to clarify. I'm not going to be long. So after they called the other person, I stepped up, and I was like, listen, you just dismissed everything. This 33 no court cost doesn't apply. It does not apply because everything was dismissed. Oh, and mind you, this was a quote-unquote sheriff in the courtroom. And he was like, you know, you think you know more law than me. He asked me the same exact question. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not saying that I do or I don't. But I'm just saying that I know this Constitution and that I shouldn't be paying 33 notes. He was like, you're going to have to pay the court costs. It's standard. I'm like, nah. I walked right up there, no contempt or anything, and walked out with the 33 dismissed too. So I say that to say that that question that was asked, do you think you know more law than me, is an insecurity that they have with Moors waking up. Because they wouldn't ask that type of question if you did or you didn't. It wouldn't even matter. You know what I mean? But I think it's an insecurity or a standardized reflex that they have. Because to hear that you say they asked that same question to this brethren is amazing. But I'll say that I congratulate and I'm thankful that, you know, the brethren, you know, got out of that situation and the sistren, or however that happened, you want to elaborate. But for sure. So definitely salute to that.
Right. So what ultimately ended up happening was this: the original cop that stopped the brother got out, and he handed him 3 bills of attainder, what they would call tickets. The funny, so that the brother immediately started. So I'm not contracting with you. I'm not signing anything. So I walked over to the brother. I put my hand on his chest. I said, "Yo, bro." I said, "Just take him." And he said, "But no, just take him. Don't worry about it. We can handle that later." Right? Because we don't need this to escalate. If it's going to escalate, then we'll deal with it. But we don't need it to escalate. Right? So I asked the brother to let me have him. So I took him and I looked at him because I want to see the discrepancy. Right? The genius that knows all this law wrote the same bill of attainder, the same citation twice. 2 times. Right? On two different numbers. So one bill of attainder might say 1, 2, 3, 4, and the second one will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he actually wrote the same ticket twice. He gave him 3 citations. I told the brother, I said, "Listen, don't worry about it. Take him. We'll deal with it later." So he handed him the citations. Nothing was signed. Nothing was agreed to, and that was that. They got in their car. Taj wasn't finished yet. Taj was still handing it to him. So they got in there. They got in their conveyance, and they pulled away. And then and the funny thing was this: I asked Sergeant Medina. I said, "Everything cool here?" I said, "We can roll." And he was like, "I'm standing here." He said, "I'm actually standing here on my own accord." That's because he was enjoying what he was hearing. Everything was already said and done. He could have been left. That's why I said the brother probably went home and got on Google. Because one thing you can't do is you can't ignore truth. When you hear truth, it resonates in your body. It resonates in your soul. You can't run from it and you can't hide from it. And he couldn't run and he couldn't hide. That brother ultimately did not have his conveyance told, which, like I said, by their policy called lifestyle, without 2 or 3, you're supposed to be told. That brother solidly stood on his right to travel and didn't get his conveyance told. Like I said, I was happy that everybody that was there, who never had the opportunity to either face a magistrate, to talk to the policy enforcers in an intelligent tone and get a favorable reply. I was happy that they all had the opportunity to see it. And the most divine thing was we were talking about a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. That was the time and season for that to happen.
For sure.
We could. What if we wasn't having class at the York House, and he had got pulled over? And what if Taj couldn't have got up there, and the rest of us couldn't get up there? That could have went a whole other way, right? Or what if he had got stopped later that day when there was nobody around, but he didn't? He got stopped a block and a half away from where we were. So everybody could see that demonstration. All of us, him, the policy enforcers, and everybody on the street. Everybody on the street. Nobody made a mockery out of nothing, but it was just a beautiful thing to see him stand on his right to travel, to see him stand on his birthright, and to see them actually stand down without any hostility and anything to say, bro.
Word.
No, just
Word.
to add on as well. Same thing that we were talking about earlier. The right there's right Moorish information. There's a right perspective as far as this information is concerned. And then once you're in line with the right information, which is Noble Duali, it's going to tie you to your ancient foremothers and forefathers who are going to manifest in this time and help you out with situations that you got to deal with. Because there's not many people that can have this type of example to tell people, to convince them that where we're at is where people need to be if you want to know about Moors. We're not talking arrogant, cocky, or whatever like that, but only the realists feel this. And the realness is RVBey publications. Go there, stay there, study from there. You're going to vibrate on this frequency. Taj Tariq Bey, Go there, stay there, study anything that he put out, any books or whatever like that. Buy 2 of them, so buy 3 of them, so you can give 2 away, keep 1 for yourself. Right? Moorish Heritage and History School, Canaan and Moors, classes at the York House, you know what I mean? Whatever else. Anybody else vibrating on this side of the Moorish information is directly connected with the ancestors. Because there's no way that fam's getting pulled over a block and a half away from where classes are going on, right? And it going down like that. You find me some other Moors out here that's not on this side. The other Moors, whether they're dirty, religious, whatever. And let them put on the record this. I bet you they have nothing to put on the record. Another good one to bring up is Brother Fontes, his video that has 800 million hits right now. When he shut down all the policy enforcers with the exact same protocol. Noble Drew Ali, RVBey Publications, Tashreeq Bey, and stay in your ass home, study. No UCC1, no authenticate birth certificate, none of that stuff. None of these, processes that people are talking about, you have to do that. None of this, you have to be a member of Moorish Science Temple in order for your nationality card to work and stuff like that. Right? This is a perfect example of what the right information how the right information could change your life.
True talk. For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. And the unity that for everybody to show up in support of the family too. You know what I mean? Like on the scene, that was just divine, man. Like, and I know whoever went through it, that was a divine lesson. I mean, just imagine, right? I don't know where they were at in their degrees, but you learning about this more. Learning about international family law, right? And it's specifically about your Moorish nationality. On your way to class and get stopped 1 block and 1/2 from where you're trying to be to learn about your birthright or add on about it. And that going down, I don't know, man. I just say that was a great universal lesson, demonstration. Whoever went through it, salute to them, and definitely salute to you all, man, for being there, coming down there in support of what they were going through, So, for sure.
Islam, bro, if I could just add on right quick.
Yeah.
Islam, if I could just add on right quick. That shows how divine of a people we are, bro. Because if we got the message, it's time for everything, time for that to happen. Because then you got to see supreme unity. Hey, listen, bro, the police are the biggest gang in the world.
For
They're
sure.
the biggest gang in the world. You're telling me that you already got 4 people already there. 4 people already there, and Taj is giving it to these guys. And then you got 8 of us that come walking up the street, and they don't get out their cars.
Right.
What gang ain't gonna protect their own? You know, everybody knows how these guys move, man. They get out with guns drawn. Nobody moves, man. I don't see. I'm not sure for the listeners. I hope y'all can understand what I'm trying to relay here. They are a gang, and they will literally kick your ass. They did not move. They saw all those pheasants coming up the street. They saw the pheasants that were already out there. They didn't move. That's divine. Because if we didn't have on pheasants and we were out there screaming and hollering and making a bunch of noise, it might have been a different scene. You might have been hearing about the corporate city of Philadelphia on the news, all the way up there in the corporate city of Toronto, where the Sheik is at. Right now, it's such a divine time that you opened up talking about love, and people got to be able to really, really understand and overstand what love is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just say I love my mother, I love my father. Understand and understand and overstand what it is. Look it up and really embrace it. I just want to share one more thing before I check out. Just the other day, I was riding down the highway. I was in my truck, and I just had this feeling that just overcame me, right? This feeling of unity. So I sent a text message out to quite a few people in Canaan Land, and Grand Sheik Kujo Abu Hill, who's on the line, was one of the recipients of this text message. And the text message pretty much said, y'all brothers really embraced me and accepted me like family, and I love all of y'all. That's what I said to them brothers. And they know that I truly meant it, right? In the sense of I really love these guys like brothers. I went to Canaan Land, reached out to Cujo, and gained a whole family, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's unity. That's unity. Cujo is the Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Mm-hmm.
His temple and the only other temple that I'm affiliated with is Grand Sheik Nature Obey's Temple, right? But do you hear them telling me because I'm not in the temple that I can't be a Moor? Because I'm not in the temple, my ID card is not valid. You don't hear them saying any of that. That's unity. That's because they're operating on divine principles.
Mm-hmm.
Operating on sheer love. If you love your brothers, if you love your if you love your mothers and your fathers and your sisters and your brothers, all of that stuff don't matter. It's irrelevant. We are all Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's a real divine time, man, and everybody got to find some kind of way to fall in love. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, brethren. Oh, man. First and foremost, I want to say, bro, thank you for calling in with that information and that testament. You know what I mean? We look forward to more, hearing you a lot more. You know what I mean? But salute to everything that you're doing. You know what I mean? Keep going. I just want to let the internet listeners know that in about 12 minutes, the lines will go down. I mean, the internet feed will go down. But we will be doing another hour on the line at the most. Again, we are all vibing on the first principle tonight of love. The lines are type lit right now. Again, everybody else is welcome to add on. But again, like I said, I'm calling sisters out on the subject of love. Call in and drop wisdom. All right. So, Brother Set and Rod, thank you much for chiming in and giving that a testament to a recent victory, because that right there was court. Right there. You know what I mean? Like, forget going and filing the writ on the spot. You know what I mean? But it took unity. So I definitely am thankful that situation is in concrete in the universe and in the atmosphere. So salute to that. Oh, I don't know. Before you go, do you want to drop the link of how people could look that up or what?
You know what? Give me a second.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me pull it. I was so busy just feeling the vibe. I didn't even pull the information. Give me a second.
Indeed. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, those who are already tuned in on the call line, please stay tuned in. See hands up. Definitely want to hear from everybody. I'm feeling this whole vibration tonight, and I'm just waiting to hear what else everybody else has to add on, chime in with, and let us leave this session and take out this session, with amelioration of the first principles, and even them coming down to help the brethren or the family that was there, whoever, you know what I mean? The sister that was involved, brethren, whoever was there demonstrate with that. That's love too. So all of this is interrelated because your birthrights are given from birth. And we were made in the element of love. That's just the element of creation. The 5-pointed star is the hieroglyph for man in the flesh, spirit man in the flesh. You already know the different acronyms and breakdowns: arm, leg, arm, head. Noble Drew Ali left the lesson, what does the 5-pointed star represent? And the answer was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love being at the head, the first part that's formed in the body is the head. So that's love. That's just the natural function of creation, fam. And as long as we keep that, or acknowledge that, we be good. We be really good. So, again, bro, before we move on, were you able to pull that reference or no? Should you just text us later on that, or what's happening?
Nah, Islam, I pulled it. It says,
all right.
So what you would do is just go to YouTube and you would type in National Standing on His Rights, Part 1. And that's National Standing on His Rights, Part 1.
All right. Cool indeed. So, Morris, that's some more homework to do, you know what I mean? Some more things now, just a demonstration. So check that out. And, brethren, thank you again. Peace to you and the family. Y'all have a great night and much health and love to you all. All right? Definitely look forward to speaking with you again, fam. Islam.
One love.
One love, fam. One love. All right.
More. Peace, bro.
Peace, fam. All right. So with that being said, 504-338, live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam. How y'all doing, family?
Peace, Moor.
Well.
Okay, this is Amazite, RVBey, calling from Northwest of Maxim. All honors to all prophets, all honors to Prophet Noble Jew Ali, all honors to all answers, the seen and unseen, all honors to all mothers, all nationals, all groups of people, everybody, conscious, unconscious. I just wanted to say I love y'all. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm a yellow flow. Let these females do what they do. And, man, just keep doing what y'all doing, man. Peace and love, man. You heard me? You already know.
Oh, bro. Thank you, fam, for tuning in with that. I don't know. Let's see. Sisters, where y'all at? Brethren, family, anybody who has anything. Let's go on. We appreciate you all, for chiming in with whatever you have to add on. 214-565. You live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, I'm with you, my brother.
Peace, brother. How are you?
I'm doing very well, my brother. Doing good. Give peace and love to you, Miss Ram, to Cujo out here in the background. All praise due to Allah that He has allowed us to see another day and continue to study and uplift not only ourselves, but those who have an ear to listen and give them the most precious words that ever came to uplift a fallen nation, which is the Moors and the Moabite of North America. Indeed, as you stated earlier, the Moabites, it would be a blessing of heart and love, not with the blood, but we done shedded so much blood to open up and speak because Allah created them, and inside of them is a nation. Without her, we, the sons of the Moabite, wouldn't be here, and we need to hear from them because when I look at the pictorial of the symbol of justice, she may be blindfolded, but she represents love. As I was a child, I never knew about love until I watched my mother. My mother was the image of love. She was all portrayed in love. The simple thing that she did. When I'm sick, that was love. When I was hurting, there was love. When I needed someone's comfort, there was love. And the expression of love that she gave to me and that I witnessed helped me to progress in life and share that love, because love conquers all ill. And as the brother, his testimony of what he went through, it was so beautiful that the people need to hear that, because we're still, most people think, especially those who have been corn and labor, Negro, colored, and black, etc., that the Constitution, our Constitution, was written for the Europeans and by them. However, they are in gravely error. As stated in the preamble, it's one of the purpose for posterity was to form a more perfect union, which indicates at least two things: coming together to ensure domestic, meaning our home in the North Gate, North America, Al-Morocco, to tranquility is another, etc. The union that one taken about is the UN. That's what we're talking about, because they have took is the European colonists and any and all other who were adopted or maybe adopted, naturalized. But we know we are the natural person in flesh and blood, in proper persona, when we'll claim our nationality and we stand on who our foremothers and our forefathers were. We must realize that we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, we establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote for the general welfare, and secure blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And then when you look at the pictorial, what do you see? Who do you see? You see the Moabite. To all my Moabite sisters that have ears to hear, please step up and let us sons know to carry us on, because we only have to have energy. We fed from your breath. You raised us up. You taught us. Now speak to us, Islam.
Islam, man. Say that. Real talk. Brother Score, I thank you much, man, for calling in and staying tuned in, bro.
Islam,
you know
always. I love your mother. I love Ras Morale. And to our most noble Grand Sheikh RVBey, Islam.
All right. Peace and love to the internet listeners. Please go back to the archives. We have less than 10 seconds left before the end of the live feed. All right, so we're going back into the rest of the hour that we have left, because when we start getting it in with our principles, it's like time just starts flying, and we look up, things are cooked up, and we just keep it moving, man. So with that being said, we're going to move to our next caller with supreme thanks to the brethren. And again, sisters, call in if you feel so. So with that being said, caller 719-964. You are live on the air. Are you with us, family?
Brother. Greetings.
Peace and love. Caller 719-964. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, this is Brother Bukhari, RVBey from Northwestern Mexico.
Islam, noble. Peace and love, man.
Yeah. I just wanted to say what a wonderful show. And I was listening and came in when Brother Setenra was speaking, and he started sharing the incident that took place with Taj and brother and his partner as they were traveling. And I was just so happy to hear that things turned out well. And I just wanted to say and add on just two things quickly. I won't be long, because I know that there are a lot of other listeners and time is short. Just wanted to say that honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to our foremothers and forefathers, honors to the panel. And here quickly, I had a situation not too long ago that I was only able to reap some modicum of success because of my studies and because of the fact that I am a Moorish national and because of the fact that I do respect my ancient foremothers and forefathers. And so I don't just talk it. I don't just put up videos. I actually live it. And it is extremely serious to me. And this is why I am so, I get so upset at times when I hear individuals who are half-stepping and who are not doing what they should be doing when they know better. And so, having said that, I did have success, and I went into the corporate administrative room after sending in 3 writs, and the case was ruled in my favor, even though they didn't answer any of my questions, even though and of course they weren't, I didn't expect them to, but they basically stated that, they were going to rule in my favor because of the fact that, just some nonsense. So they basically gave me an out. So I'm just sharing this briefly without getting into detail that it works, and it works because you have to be this. You can't just get into this without sincerity and expect it to work, because that's not what this is about. It's not going to work. Cujo already broke it down. You've already broken it down, Brother Misrahim, on numerous occasions. The divine side and sincerity and honesty is extremely important. That's why I won't deal with certain individuals. You see, the last thing that I want to say is that mothers, we do need you. And I know that from my perspective, many mothers won't get involved until they see the sons doing something right. But mothers, just, for everybody that's listening, please, you have to make this thing work. If you don't get involved with this and you don't start changing and your lives in accordance with law and raising the sons and the daughters, it's not going to work, because you were here before we were here. And with that, I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam, Moor.
Islam, Moor. Thank you for adding that on. Oh, man, that's facts. That's true. That's law. That being said, we have so limited time and a lot of callers. I want to just to the next caller and thank everybody thus far for calling in, tuning in, and adding on, or just particularly adding on with those who might be in your cipher as of right now. But caller 412-969. Again, you are live on the air. Are you with us, family?
Islam. This is Energy, calling from Northwest Maxim.
Islam. I kind of thought I was like, all right, please hold off. Yo.
Yes. For the record, my son Daniel Mayfair is home, and he's handling his affairs. considering those matters that have passed. And I'll also go back to, me, 1, being woken up, 2, me acknowledging who and what I am, 3, living who and what I am, and 4, dispensing that down to my offspring. And I just would like to give a testimony as mother. Coming into this movement, first and foremost, Cujo, thank you so much for Tuesday night. Oh, my gosh, the way you broke it down, blew up, somebody needed to say it. It ain't about, y'all doing y'all do wonderful work. I appreciate everything that you do, Ms. Rahim do, Mariah, Roz does, Anani does, RVBey does. I appreciate what you all do. And you remember, Cujo, I came to you years ago because I was in a situation. This is true. But that didn't really have no reason why, or that wasn't the main reason why I was drawn to the information. I was drawn to the information because I was born for this. The prophet, yes, love instead of hate. Years ago, I was, cultivated to love, even though everything around me was teaching me nothing but giving me good reasons to hate. And I just wouldn't do it for some reason. I just needed to know the truth. And here I sit today knowing just that, continue to study so I can know how to continue to navigate in this place and filter it down to my yet. Now he's 15 months, but he was the unborn then and my youth. They getting that information. They know who they are. They know they're not black, Negro, the color. Yes, 2 of them are dealing with the public school system, but they deal with my son and my daughter as that and not legal children. They're not numbers. They don't call them by names. Hey, I only let them do so much because I'm mother, and I know that I am the law. So I speak up for mine, and I have no choice but to do that because that's the movement we're in. When Cujo spoke on Tuesday night and I was on the line, I was like, I got to say thank you so much. I got cut off somehow. I got cut off. I was like, you're kidding me. But I was so moved because when that young man was speaking on it, then he was like coming with the comments, like you said, if you're not in this about uplifting, follow humanity, then why are you even trying to be a part of it? It's about uplifting, follow humanity. And for the fact that I recognize that follow humanity happened to be us female, mother, because if we don't know, nobody's going to get it. And we wonder why I appreciate the fact that my sons are out here doing this work. I really do. RVBey, oh, my goodness, he's not playing. He's not playing with nobody. But he's not mother. And what hurts my heart, I see all these videos that the brothers do, like, Cujo, I appreciate your Tuesday classes. I do. I love being able to sit my children down so we could take in your classes. Because where else they going to get it at? The temple here? No. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to the Internet. I appreciate that we have the Internet or this type of technology so my youth can see, the information that mommy is studying, and they themselves, they may not be able to comprehend everything that's coming down, but the fact it's in their environment, that's what's important, And when I heard you speaking and the brother was coming with that madness, as y'all can hear successful in the background, anyway, I was like, okay, yeah, it's not so much about getting these rich right, and so it's about knowing who you are and being about uplifting this nation and uplifting mother. The sons are out here doing it and doing it large, and I appreciate the fact, but where are the mothers? I'm not understanding this. Outside of Roz, outside of Anani, outside of Valera, outside of Yafa, I'm not understanding. Where we at? Now, myself, I've been moved to make those videos, but I've never wished to be in front of the camera on the spotlight. I've never been that person. But the more and more I'm in this, I feel moved to just share experiences, basically. The fact that my son, once he came here, he doesn't have, I didn't give him the information for them to create the fictitious bond on him. And they came at me about him not so-called having their Social Security number. Why would I do that? I know better than that, So, and I get to share this information with other mothers my age and young mothers and mothers to be. You know, this is the kind of stuff that I do on my personal time with the individuals face to face, but maybe I do need to go ahead and put this information out there. I still nurse this baby. I still make all our plant-based, you know, meals and everything, leaving the meat alone a long, long time ago. My oldest would be 19 in April. My youngest is 15 months. He ain't never tasted meat. My daughter, she had experienced the madness for 10 months, so she got all that garbage in it, but my 7-year-old male child, he ain't never had meat in his life. That kind of thing. And they all healthy. I've had the same pediatrician since my first feed. So, I mean, it's doable, and yes, it is really in the hands of us females. It really is.
There it is.
Because if we're sitting here promoting, oh yeah, you got to go to school and get good grades, but meanwhile these public school systems is not about educating your children when they're still telling them lies like Columbus discovered the land you're in. That's a lie. Never even stepped foot on this land. But most of us are still filtering this information out because that's what we got. And we never took the time to delve deep within ourselves. That's where divinity come in at. That's why I go by energy. Because I know who and what I am first and foremost before the knowledge of knowing that I'm a Moor. But I knew I wasn't black. I couldn't grasp that. I couldn't grasp the concept of African American for whatever reason. Something in me was not vibing with that. When I did those applications back in the day, put down other and I put in human. That's what I put in because that's what made sense to me without any studying. But when the time came for me to be able to go to that next step, my nationality and birthright was revealed to me. And without doubt or contradiction, I was on it. Without any hesitation, I filtered it down to my offspring real simple. And it's just that simple. I mean, I got to say, you know, I do understand the plight that us mothers have to deal with. You know, a lot of us are so-called single mothers or what have you, but that's what it is. It's just mother and son out here. Stop falling for the trap. Oh, well, the father, he don't do nothing, or the father, he's, you know, he's absentee and all this. So, look, okay, that's not the problem right now. The problem is, what is it that you're giving to your offspring? Do they know what they are first and foremost? Ask any one of mine, they energy. What's your nationality? Moorish American. What makes you Moorish? See, we have to do our Sunday school here at the house because I can't take them to the temple that's here because it's been infiltrated heavily. And that hurts my heart. That's why I appreciate the fact that I got principles of nationality on Tuesday. I got the Moorish Heritage Schools on Wednesday, Sons of Allah every other Thursday, and Sisters Standing on the Law every other Sunday. I appreciate the fact that Cujo doing his classes 2 or more hours every Tuesday. We got that. We can get that because in our local area, no, we're not going to have a sea of pheasants coming out to support those who are being accosted by these foreign modern Europeans occupying our land and being terrorists. We don't got that here. And I've been so trying to get our youth organized here. And I'm going to continue on doing it because that's my job. As mother, that's my job. I'm not going to go to sleep on that. I just appreciate the fact that you brothers is doing what you, or you sons are doing what you're doing. I appreciate what you said. So Tuesday, you moved me so much. I was like, oh, my goodness. He was like, creditor. Well, it's not even about that. You know, if you don't come into this movement understanding the divinity about this, if you're not tapped into that, what are you doing? You know, you're out here trying to get the crumbs off the table of your house guests, basically. You know, your unwanted house guests at this point. What are you doing? We got to stop this. And mothers, you got to stop promoting this. You got to stop telling your children that, you know, in order for them to be so-called successful in this paradigm is to do what it is that the modern European is telling you. Now, you need to question everything that they said to you. And first and foremost, you need to acknowledge who and what you are, period, and go from there.
How you Thank you so much. But indeed, there you go. I mean, that's what it is. It's back in the hands of the sisters. That's where it's at. You know what I mean? And I just leave anybody with this. When you ask, you know, where's the sisters at? When brothers ask, where's the Grand Sheik at? Where's the temple at? Start looking within, because
Yes.
If you don't have that in your immediate environment, you have to be that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's a responsibility there, too. So with that being said, I think Cujo has something to add on. My fault. I don't want to cut anybody's wisdom, but I just want to reemphasize. Like, we have a decent amount of callers and a limited amount of my brethren. I love you, but like I said, I specifically am calling out sisters on this subject of love. So, brothers, like, I don't know. I see a decent amount of callers, and I'm going to go in subsequential order. But I definitely want to hear from the sisters and Sister Energy. Thank you for calling in. Mother Energy. All the mothers, sisters, everything. Islam. All right, with that being said, caller 803-290. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yep, I'm with y'all. Islam, Tarsa, Joel, calling from Northwest Mexums, near the Orangeburg, South Carolina Corporation.
Peace, Moor.
Peace, Islam. I just want to hop back off what the story Senator Ross said earlier. It's like I had I had run out of gas one time at a stop sign, and there were like 3 policy enforcers. I guess they were just chilling, talking, cutting the brief. So I said, okay, since I'm out of gas, they policy enforcers. Let me go ahead and have them help me out with my conveyance since it's stuck on the side of the road right now. So I asked them for some help. They paid me no attention, so I had to walk over to get some gas. But when I came back, make a long story short, when I came back, they were circling my vehicle. You know what I'm saying? My conveyance, basically. So when I came back, they were like, this is your conveyance? I mean, this is yours? I was like, yeah, I told y'all to help me. I told y'all I ran out of gas. Like, duh. Like, and they was like, okay, I guess they didn't like my answer. So I came up with so they asked me, let me see your license. I said, well, let me pull my gas first. I just got my gas, my car out, let me. And so they said, nah, you can stop pulling your gas. Let me get your license. So, just them asking me for my identification, whatever, you know what I'm saying, got me kind of like upset. So I asked them, okay, matter of fact, what's your names, badge numbers? There are 3 of them. So what's your names, badge numbers? I need to see y'all bond numbers because I don't know who y'all are. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, we're the authority. And I was like, last time I remember is we the people, not we the corporate state. So I was, pouring my gas and all that. So one of them, he was like, okay, my name is so-and-so, so my badge numbers, gave me his badge number. So I was like, hey, your bond number? And he's like, well, you don't need that right now. And I said, yes, I do. And, so we're going back and forth and all that. So I said, under threat, duress, or coercion, because they're still threatening for my identification, I gave them my identification card. So they were looking at it and everything. At the same time, I had the hoodie because I'm by a quote-unquote historical black college, you know what I'm saying? And I had one of the hoodies on. So they asked me if I went to that college because I was spending the law well. They asked me if I went to the college. I was like, nah, I didn't go to none of your uneducational universities, So, we're going back and forth. Next thing you know, the captain came. The big boy came. Check my identification, ask me if that's me and things like that. Well, I answered. My sister and my brother-in-law came through on the scene. So I thought, they're going to try to kidnap me, whatever. So I had them come on the scene, too. So they started talking to my sister. I said, you talk to the wrong person because my sister, she's unconscious. So I said, you talking to the wrong person right now. You need to talk to me about the situation. But to make a long story short, the captain had them push my car while, out the road. So I'm letting you know, yeah, it does work if you stand on your square. Another time I got pulled over, I just had my proclamation paper on me and, in and out. You know what I'm saying? 2 times I did got kidnapped, though. So, you got to pick your battles, whatever.
Indeed.
Yeah,
we appreciate you calling in and adding that on. I just want to say before you go, and for everybody that's listening, remember, Sister Standing on Law is this Sunday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, please, feel free to have your family or, your friends or whoever tune in and absorb that information. With that being said, we're going to move to the next caller. And thank you much, fam.
Love.
Cool. All right, that being said, caller 248-760. You're live on the air. Are you with us, man?
Islam. Yes. If I may, real quick, for the woman who was just speaking, praise to her and Islam to her. And if I don't know if she's been familiar with it, but if I could recommend a couple of PDFs from the RVBey publication website, if she's listening, it's Women in Government. It's a PDF, and that's Women and Government. And another one I would recommend, if she hasn't read it, is She Redeems PDF as well. And they both can be found on the RVBey publication website. Okay? And I just want to say thank you.
And Return of the Matriarch. In the Return of the Matriarch page, the series. No, I was saying in conjunction with that, the Return of the Matriarch page is serious too.
Right. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself properly. I'm SM Bey from the Michigan Territory, and I've had similar experiences with what I would call temples who have been infiltrated by COINTEL. I was in the process. I still have the proclamation, the judicial proclamation, and the name declaration, and all I'm looking for was someone in one of those temples. I went to 3 different temples here in Michigan, in the Detroit area. I just needed someone to witness my signature so I could send it in and get my seal on it. Nobody would do it. None of them. And they were sheiks and sheikesses who were discouraging other people from even talking to me. And I explained.
Go ahead.
It sounds like infiltration.
I'm sorry?
That's definitely infiltration.
Yep. And the thing about it was, I explained to him, I said, there's no liability here. I said, you're not verifying anything that's on these proclamations, the ones I got from the RVBey website. I said, there's no legal obligation or liability on this. All you're doing is witnessing my signature. And I had one sheikesses who actually said, well, I talked to my attorney. And I went, huh? And I don't sign nothing without my attorney. And so I was just shocked, because doesn't she know that they're the Bar Association, that they're part of the European colonist oppressive system, that she's not aware of that, and she calls herself a sheikesses? I was just in shock. And I didn't expect that, because I'm relatively new. I just started reading the RVBey website about maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks ago. Now, it's not the first time I visited. I did back in 2008 and 2009, and I kind of went into it and then got out of it because there was a lot of different things going on in my life. But one thing leads to another, and here I am back again, and I'm not going anywhere now. I am here. I am home. I don't, it's amazing this topic that you guys are talking about in terms of women and how important they are. And I just downloaded The Clock of Destiny, Part 1 and 2, and I was reading this one thing, if I may quote it real quick, from that Clock of Destiny, and it says, astrology has always involved this universal simple fact, namely, women and grown sons in the course of 1 second can observe the moon, sun, stars, earth, and themselves without employing a telescope. Therefore, women and grown sons comprise the supreme manifestation of the whole creation, space and time, which needs no doctrine of religious mystery, fear, superstition to influence them to employ that which is right. And I was just reading that before I tuned in. And I just think it's just amazing that unity of love is what unites everyone. So if we really want unity, we have to start with love. And I thank you for your time. Peace.
Islam, thank you, brethren, as well. And so much to add on to what the brethren is saying. Definitely much. But there's a lot of callers. Cujo, we're going to go ahead to the next caller. But I didn't want to cut your wisdom. Was there anything you would like to say before we do that?
No, Moor, you can take the callers.
Okay, true. And I just wanted to add on, too, for those who go through that situation, where they cannot get quote-unquote more science temples of America to sell their papers. Please keep in mind the international mind state of unity amongst Moors, whereas you can visit, and please understand, the National Identification Card page on RVBey Publications website, where there's instructions on how you may go about that. With that being said, Islam, I want to go to the next caller, caller 314-456 with a lucky number. You live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, peace Islam, Moors Islam.
All right.
Yeah, I'm out of Chicago. Only question I have is, how does one go about claiming their nationality?
Well, it's all in the mental. It's definitely all mental. If I were you, I would study RVBey Publications, National Identification Card page. Have you studied that, or have you been familiar with RVBey Publications? And what is it that you're not clear about?
Yeah, I visit it daily. Just because you hear a lot of different things, and I've spoken, with Cujo about on different occasions, just how much information it is out there with people telling you, you gotta fill out paperwork and you gotta, join this temple and you gotta do so many different things. So, just trying to really get clarity on, on how to go about, just making sure I'm doing the right thing.
First, you would have to be clear with yourself. If I were you, I would definitely, excuse me, pardon me, Sam, got an interruption there. Excuse me, my fault. Let me yield the floor for 1 second, fam.
Wow. Oh, good.
Go ahead. My fault, bro. We good. We're good. I was just going to say, if I were you, I would definitely start by, first being clear, because to claim your nationality is one thing, but to be clear about it is a whole nother thing. So for you, if you're asking that question, since that's the question, there's a lot you should study first before you go about claiming it. It's yours to claim, but you should understand your claim on multiple levels before you actually make the claim. So with that being said, the first question to ask is, do you know who are the four mothers and forefathers, or basically the authors of the Constitution, and do you know what law that came from? Before you talk about claiming your nationality, do you know where that law came from? The Constitution, which is the law of the land.
No, not offhand, I don't. And I know it's something to study, though.
Yeah, so with that being said, you need to understand a little bit about Moorish history, Al-Moroccan, or what they call American history, you know what I mean, to actually understand, your claim. Also, again, I would suggest RVBey Publications, the book about the Iroquois, the great law of peace, you know what I mean? You should understand the Queen of Peace and what that means as far as North American Al-Moroccan culture and where that Constitution came from. Because all of that is interrelated to declaring your or claiming your nationality. These are aspects that you need to know that go with it. Not just, the fact that you're more aboriginal to the land, to really understand the political implications and ramifications that has. So, I would just say keep going in on RVBeypublications.com. There's a lot of information there. Do not put a limit on your information, but definitely please examine that and keep going in on Moorish history, American history, and be clear first. Some things to study, to be clear. You have J. Rogers, Sex and Race, Volume 1 through 3. It has Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry, Part 1, available RVBey Publications, Part 2. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of information, period, on RVBey Publications. The works of Noble Drew Ali, all of this is available at your will. So it's about you acquiring and understanding what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was saying by study, study, study. Because when you study about your nationality, and you see what Moors are doing right now, and, you know, all due respect, you will already know how to go about that. So it's internal first. And with that, I yield the floor with respect to the other callers that are on the line now. Islam. Joe, I don't know if you want to add on, but that was my add-on to that. Islam, are y'all there? Islam, peace and love, family. Can you hear me? All right. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't hear Cujo, and I don't hear the brother that called in anymore. So what I'm going to do is go to the next caller to be sure if I can, you know, hear if I'm good, we good, or something else is going on. So with that being said, caller 313, excuse me, caller 313-736, you're live on the air. Are you with me, or what's going on?
Islam.
Islam, all right.
Yep. We still hear you good. I mean, I'm thinking there's something that's on their line. But there's a very, very powerful message, brother. There's a couple things that I wanted to add on to the young lady, mother that was just on the line. We don't hear a lot.
Hold on. Before you go in, Brethren Cujo, I just tried to unmute you again. Are you with us, fam? Islam. All right. Pardon me, man. I don't know what that was about. But cool, we're here. All right, brethren, continue, fam.
Well, first of all, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Keenan English L. I'm from the Michigan territories. Peace to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Big honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all the elders. Basically, I just wanted to add on to the to Mother. She was on earlier, and she was dropping some powerful tone. The reason why, in my opinion, that you don't see or hear a lot of females is just because I lost my mom two years ago, and when Mother is sick or when Mother is in peril, that's where her sons come in. So I believe that on so many levels, it's actually up to us to raise them, even though she is God, but to actually raise her. I don't know what the word that I want to use, but just try and lift her spirits to where she needs to be, where she needs to be at mentally. You know, that's just my take on it. As far as
I appreciate you saying that, because I'm sitting here going through the callers, and I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I do want to get to the end of all the callers tonight. And thus far, I thank the sister Energy for actually calling in, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the only sister that chimed in tonight. And we're talking about the principle of love. That says a lot. You know what I mean? It says a lot. So I want to know, with these last three callers left, is there any sisters that are going to tune in? Doesn't make or break me. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, we need to hear from y'all. All due respect to my brethren, but on this particular subject of love, I don't think, there's anybody that can explain it better. So I don't mind if y'all don't chime in. If you don't know, if, you're ignorant of the fact, or you don't want to share what you feel about the situation. It's a touchy situation. Whatever it is, it's all good. But like the brethren Shakur called in earlier and said, when we're talking about nationality and the first five principles, the five principles, number one is love. So again, brethren, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but we're short. Please tune in to Sister Standing on Law this Sunday. I'm going to move on to the next caller. I appreciate what you had to say, but it's limited time. And I want to see what's really good with the Moorish Nation tuning in right now. So with that, peace and love, family. One.
Islam.
All right, Islam. All right. Caller 256-320. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, brothers. Islam. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Islam. Peace
Oh,
and love,
my
sister.
goodness. Islam. I have to listen. Ms. Raheem, I have so much respect for you, and I love how you read from your references for us, because that teaches us. And Cujo, thank you for being the disciplinarian, because sometimes we just need that. And Brother Sutton RVBey, I watched your class online, and that led me to your mother, Roz Mariah and Anna Ida L., and I am an absolute different person, and I am so thankful for all of you. And I had to call in and say that. Thank you, brothers, for wanting us to wake up. We are waking up. We're learning as mothers again to start communicating with each other. I am in the corporation, so-called Corporation of Nashville in Northwest Mexham, and my name is Ma'at Marisant Bey. And I had to let you all know you are definitely loved from me, and I'm trying to study, and I wanted to let everyone know when it comes to learning, we have to teach ourselves. I remember Anna Ida L. saying that. Everything you all say is a riddle. So callers, listen. When they say something, go look it up. Go do your own extra research, and you will be surprised at what you'll learn. And I'm finding that people are starting to come to me and ask me questions that I know because I've studied. So I'm becoming what I need to be, and it's honest because I want to help our nation get back to what it should be. And I know that I'm going to get there because of you all, because of the love that you're showing, and because of the love that I have for, all of you. So I definitely have to call in and let you all know that. I'm working on it, and it's going to be great because of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis, for calling in. We appreciate that. And, man, it's just so much to add on. But, please, sis, feel free to call back in. You already know this Sunday at 1:00 p.m., sisters. Again, Sister Standing on Law, calling, add on, etc.
I will do that. And peace and love to all of you. Have a great, 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 great New Year.
Islam, and you as well. We appreciate you. All right. Indeed, with that being said, we thank the sister for calling in. This is a great subject, great energy. And with that being said, we're going to go to our next caller, caller 706-424. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, Moors, Islam. I want to say peace to everybody on the esteemed panel. Peace to all of the active Moors. This is Brother J. Bay, calling from Northwestern Mexham. I know the time is short. I only had a question. I wanted to know if some of the information or some of the books on the RVBey website was it offered in audio form, because I have some visual impairments and I'm not able to read the written print, and I want to know how would I get the lessons or the study material in an audio form so that I may study through listening to it, or is there a way to do that? I would be willing to offer notes for the recordings or however. Or whatever.
You know what? I don't know what your assistance is like as far as people helping you to get to things or how bad your visual impairment is. But there's there's availability of talking books on RVBey Publications. She Redeems being one of them. If I'm not mistaken, we also have bringing people back into the constitutional fold. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm calling out my mother now on that one. Sisters, you know how that goes. But if there is a way, I have your number here. I don't know if you actually need, like, I don't know how bad your impairment is, but if we can call you and walk you through how to do that, then we can do that or give you assistance. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it's definitely, if you know, and again, hold on, pardon me, real quick. This is what it is. Denial of your ancestry and return of civilization. I have your number here. I don't know if you're able to go on the site and do that yourself based off of your visual right now. But I can call you or have, you know, someone around you speak, and we can give you the instructions step by step on how to do that.
Okay, then that would be greatly appreciated if you could. And I just want to say, keep up all the work and keep that in mind for further information that you guys put out. Maybe you want to have some other things transferred over to audio form. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm sure other people will use it. With that, I yield the floor, Moors. Thank you. Great class.
And before you go, can we get your appellation, bro?
Yes, I'm his brother, Bey. Northwestern Mexico.
Yes, sir. And you know we do these blogs every Tuesday, etc. So that's like a library of audio information too. But with that being said, we will give you a reach out, my brethren. Peace and love. Peace to you and yours. Islam.
Islam, Moors.
Right? Islam. That being said, call it 513-981. Oh, my fault. Islam.
Yeah, just to also put out there on Canaan Land Moors YouTube, we have the Holy Quran of the MHHS and MSTA in audio form. Anybody who wants the Quran in audio, there's that as well.
Sure. And call up 513-981. I think this is Sister Jayana. Are you with us on the air now?
Yes, I am with y'all. Since y'all was calling the sisters out, I said, well, I guess I got to call in. And so since I'm calling in, what moved me to call in was a brother that called in and said something about, you know, sometimes, you know, the brothers got to wake the sisters up or something. So I'm about to I'm going to say this. I'm about to say what I have to say, no unedited, put it like that. So all the guys that's on the phone, I'm going to ask you to put your big boy drawers on, as Sister Anna say, because, I'm about to say it. So the question is not where the sisters are at. The sisters are out there. The sisters are here. We're here. We're doing our thing. It's just a different movement with us. We don't have to be in a big scene all the time. We don't have to be calling in all the time. We don't have to be speaking all the time. Because if you're speaking, you're not listening. If you're speaking, you're not hearing. So we got our open ears out right now. So a lot of times they say the thing how the news, the public may put a lot of the bad stuff that's going on with the Moors, but don't put on broadcast on the media the good things that's going on with the Moors. And most of the good things that are going on with the Moors and Moors that are winning the cases are the females or women, their mothers, that are winning the cases, but they just don't broadcast it as much as the brothers do. Another place, the women, the Sister Standing on Law. If you're on Sister Standing on Law, all the women, a lot of women are on there. A lot of women are on there. A lot of women are on the Sister Standing on Law. Whether we call in or not, we're here, we're listening, we're studying what we're supposed to be doing. We're in the books, we're taking care of home, we're taking care of the children. We're doing our thing. Trust me, we're doing our thing. And the reason we do it the way we do it is not by mistake. It's definitely by design, because what they say, once the women wake up, what? The great meeting is on. So once we wake up, it's a wrap. So that's why it's not that we're not here. It's not that we're not doing anything. It's not that you can't find the women. It's just that they're in their books, they're in their studies, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So next, I want to speak on the topic of love, because you were talking about love. And earlier you guys were talking about basically good and evil being within the same, or people. I don't want to say I forgot, but I forgot how you were saying it. But anyway, I'm going to read something from the Holy Instructions from the Prophet, The Soul of Man, that chapter, The Soul of Man. Number 21, whatsoever may do good may also do harm. Be aware that direct is course to virtue. So to me, that lets me know that, when you guys are talking about you can't love without hating. You can't love without hating. So that also correlates to me, because whatsoever may do good may also do harm, because good and bad is within the same, and it's just describe how we got our lower selves and our higher selves. So you can't have one without the other. It's just about balancing both of them, balancing the good and evil within you, balancing the hate or the love within you, just the whole balance with everything. So it's another passage I want to read from the Book of Wisdom from the Holy Prophet. Think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable. Okay. Okay. I know why I had this. Because you guys was going in, so I had this highlighted. Okay, I know why I had this highlighted. Because earlier, me and you were talking about, it takes a great deal of love for people to give information. It takes a great deal of love for people to teach. It takes a great deal of love for people to be out here the way everybody on this panel is out here doing everything that you guys do to uplift the people. So this is for wisdom. If you have wisdom, think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable, nor believe with the pretended wise that thou oughtest to condemn it. Love it not thyself, but for the good it may be to others. So, those with wisdom that are writing the books like Cujo and Mizraim and Sister Roz, Hodge, that's exactly what you guys are displaying, the love for it, but not for themselves, but for the goods that it may do for others. And you put it out there in book form. So we thank you guys for that. And last but not least, I highlighted, good is thy power. The want, turn the same chapter. The want of good is evil. The want of good is evil. And if thy question be just, lo, it could deem it be. So basically what that is saying is this: good is thy power, but the want of good is evil, also at the same sense. So, I'm going to let everybody go in on that, whatever you may interpret when you read that. So that's just my put. The sisters are definitely here. We're here. We're waking up. We're doing our thing. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam. Thank you for calling in and affirming that. You got to get low and do what you got to do. That's great. All right. Bro, Cujo, I know you was about to say something. Pardon me, bro. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
Oh, no, y'all just Islam, and that's all.
Word, indeed. All right, that being said, we have we have a couple more callers, but I don't think we're going to get to everybody. But we're going to keep this brief. Islam, caller 267-521. You're live on the air.
Islam. Just giving the shout out. We talking about love. This is Tressa L, Northwest of Mexham. Just letting the sons know we out here. The mothers is out here. We out here. Y'all holding it down, so are we. I just had to put my energy out there for y'all and let y'all know we out here. Peace and love.
For sure. Man, that's beautiful.
I sense love. Peace and love, family.
Thank you. Peace and love. We appreciate the love vibration you brought through, and We just thankful y'all are out. But again, you know, this is a subject we could go in on forever. It's the first principle is something that needs to be talked about. So we look forward to this subject coming up again in the future and maybe taking, you know, questions, answers, add-ons earlier. But this is something that has to be discussed. While we felt it was imperative to bring it up. And just thank you all, everybody who called in for showing that and showing love.
Absolutely.
So thank
Appreciate
you, Sister
the
Tressa,
love.
for adding on. Islam.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Islam. No problem. Thank you. All right. Caller 870-536. You're live on the air. Are you with us? You recognize for 3 minutes, family.
Yes, I do. This is Demetrius L. Appalachian, Northwest of Maxim, by way of Arkansas Corporation, California. And I just want to let you know I appreciate you all, too. You're sharing your love and wisdom, and it also helps me grow. So I just want to put that out there and let you know that I'm here, too.
Sister. Thank you.
Yes,
You know what I mean? For being out there and tuning in and, you know, being conscious of your nationality. That's great. I say thank you and yield the floor to Brett and Cujo. Wow.
Yeah, everything's peaceful, Moor.
Yes, yeah, have a good night, okay?
All right. Peace and love, sis.
Thank
you. All right. No problem. Thank you. With that being said, we did get to acknowledge every caller that was in the queue. We got to do that, and we're thankful for that. You know what I mean? We didn't want to cut anybody's wisdom, but we wanted to hear from everybody that had to add on, send a vibration, whatever it is. We definitely appreciate that. And I don't know, bro. I don't think this is a subject that's closed here. I don't think it stops here. You know what I mean? So it's something that we have an open-ended. It's an open-ended class. You know what I mean? Islam.
Sure, for sure.
Hold on. My fault.
Stop.
No cuts on your
One
wisdom.
more? We got one more?
No. Go ahead, bro.
No. I was just gonna say that you're right. You know what I mean? It's something that would continue on. As long as Moors are here, we're gonna be discussing this topic.
For sure. Hold on. Got the special add on right now. And I want to say peace and love to my mother. What's going on? Thank you for chiming in and about to display whatever wisdom it is you have.
Well, can you hear me? Right? Islam, can you hear me?
We can hear you, love. We can hear you.
All right. I just had to call in because I had to call in to say that, yes, in terms of the call out to the sisters in the first principle of love. And I know this is a short time, so, you know, I'm going to speak for Annie E. too, that, yeah, we are both here. And I know, unless she calls in, she may not get the opportunity. And I know that we want to also say to all the sisters who are listening and all the sisters who definitely called in to give the support to this show this night, that we're with them and they're with you, and we're all one. And to all the sons, chapter 2, sons, is what we say. And if you read chapter 2 of the first 7 Holy Quran, you will get exactly what we're talking about. So keep on doing what you're doing. And, of course, you, Ms. Rainey, are chapter 2, son, and Cujo, you certainly are as well. And, you know, Seth Roberts on doing his thing. He is as well. And all who called in tonight that's in the same vibration of this information, which is truth, that needs no apology, and is truth that does not change, and it is truth that is the light that brings us to the dawning of our awareness and sets us free. So y'all had a wonderful sharing tonight. Peace and love to you all, and to all the sisters. Islam.
Islam. You're on mute, Ms.
I don't know what happened to Liz. He dropped out, I guess. No, I guess not.
Oh, my fault. I was talking away and thought. I was on the line. I was just saying. No, hold on, my fault. I don't want to cut anybody's wisdom, but I want to take us out with some bars tonight. And I just wanted to say that this Tuesday, Principles of Nationality on Action, 9:30 p.m., and this Sunday, 1 p.m., Sisters Standing on Law, Eastern Standard Time, Cujo, Canaan Land Moors, Kanata, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't want to cut anybody's wisdom, but I definitely want to hear some bars on the outro tonight. And I just want to say big thanks to you all, Cujo. We might not be able to get through all of this, but before we close out, I know you have to add on Islam.
Yo, just to add on to all the Moors, peace and love, and we appreciate all the callers. We appreciate all the listeners. Most and foremost, we appreciate Allah for sending us the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam, peace and love, and we mean that. All right.
Yeah. Operation Rapper in position. We still here. Operation Rapper in position. All the gods and goddesses. Iron sheet, hip hop lives, yo. The deaf won't hear and the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. NS indirectly, Boo Ali, one of the names of the prophets internationally. Drew said Moors proclaiming nationality, cause they're not Ethiopian or NBC. So he founded America's MSC in 28. Me saying that they will cause debates. So I needed to clear up the mess, but most debate so they can big up their chest to prove what they know and what they can do. Recreating the wheel that was created by Drew. When you know the truth, many debate, but few humble themselves and suppress the jungle himself. Do them, I just do me, keeping my gold while they trade in their jewelry. Tariq and Nature Bay schooled me. You fool me in your dreams, dirty more think they could mule me truly. Who's the real Drew? Me and we. Esteem more their religion is my mental degree, and where everybody's supposed to be. If not, I guess that's not where you're supposed to be. Hopefully Drew Ali will be seen openly and realize NBC is something you can be. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali. It seems unconscious Moors love the semblance of identity and having no remembrance of the Moorish past, no resemblance of the ancestral land inheritance. Love being the children, not the parents. To do any activity asking for clearance. Their minds like crystal, nothing but clearance. Everyone can progress in their land, the heirs can't. It's their status, stop blaming racists who bleed just like you if you shank their faces. You walk through here in pyramid spaceships, and they use that as an emblem on their aprons, and can't be free if not Moorish Masons. Black or more Europeans are not Caucasians, coming to the new world to civilize pagans. With boats and harbors from mosques on hills, we sending in agents. The deaf won't hear, the blind won't see the hidden message in the words of Drew Ali.